Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am Michelle of Serenity Mountain Farm, and today I am going to talk about my little farm. So we moved from the city to the country. So a little backstory is I did not grow up on a farm, homesteading, any of that stuff. I was a city girl playing softball, and my husband grew up on the farm. 100 acres. You know, he would get checked out of school to help harvest crops, plant crops, whatever it was for the farm life. So now the tables have turned. He still loves farming and homesteading, don't get me wrong, but when we had kids, we were in the city, and I just remember when we started dating, I was 16, he was 21. I loved the whole farm aspect. I fell in love with it. I learned how to haul hay. I learned how to drive a tractor. His dad taught me all that. His mom taught me to cook on a wood stove. So I just fell in love with it. But fast forward, we got married, we had kids, we homeschooled, so we traveled a lot for homeschool. And during that time, we both said we wished we would have farmed, but that wasn't the idea for our homeschooling. Especially when there is so much out in everywhere to observe. So that is why we mainly traveled a lot, because there were so many adventures you can go on with homeschooling and learn about different places, cultures, you name it. So I was trying to keep an eye on the cat. He's under my husband's truck right there. He usually comes over here at the fig tree and sits and visits with the goats. So that is why we lived in the city, because we didn't need a big piece of land, because we had a camper and blah blah blah. We stayed gone, we homeschooled, we, you know, every weekend we was gone. But if we had to do it over again, we would try to do it differently, because we wanted to farm. And anyway, so when my kids got in when they got to high school, where we lived, you had to be in high school to play in the sport. My daughter was really into the color guard and golf and soccer, and my son he tried football one year, but his thing was just wrestling. So my other son was just into drama, so that's what we done. They went back to high school to do the extracurricular activities, so-called. And so once they got grown and gone and moved out, we were trying to contemplate on either moving or just staying there and keep traveling. So a company came in and bought our whole street in our subdivision. We had 30 days to get out. So I drove thousands of miles just trying to find a place. And when we looked at this place, the realtor that had came here, she's just like, I'm gonna go ahead and forewarn you right now with the housing market, if anything is over two acres and over, it's going fast. So if you think you want this place, you better get your husband back here within the next few hours and get an offer on it. Well, the place I had looked at before, I really wanted it. And I was like, Lord, you know my heart. I'm trying to get him here. And sure enough, before we could even walk out the door to get him back to look at it, somebody had put an offer on it. Because my husband's thought was, you look at it first, honey. If you like it, then we'll look at it. Because he knew what I was wanting to do. And he worked. And by then, I was not teaching anymore. And I was not nursing. So this is what we did. We moved here. Up in the North Georgia mountains. But this really wasn't my dream. My dream was 20 acres or more even. That was my sole dream. But it was just so hard to find here. We would have to go out of state, and I was just like, Lord, you know my heart. If it's just meant for us to have this place and just use the land you've given us, then the house will go through. And we're here. So the first year was great. I really loved it. I thought this was what I wanted. The second year, I really wasn't loving it anymore because I was like, oh, I just wanted the 20 acres, because to be a farmer or a homesteader, every opinion is different. You have to have buku of land. And so in my mind, the people I see on YouTube or Instagram, and I'm just thinking, I'm never going to be a homesteader, ever. And so I got discouraged, and I just told my husband, I'm just selling everything. I just want to travel again because I didn't get my dream of the 20 acres I wanted, and these little almost 5 acres is just not what I really wanted. What can you really do with 5 acres? That's what I was thinking. So I sold every one of my chickens. We had 30 chickens. I sold 4 of my goats, and I sold my chicken plucker. I sold it all. The only thing that we kept was a chicken coop and my garden shed. And I went maybe 3 or 4 months. After we sold everything, I was in this whole mindset of, we're just going to buy a camper. When you're off, we're just going to travel again now that it's just me and you. And that did not work out like we had planned at all, period. So, long story short, my heart started yearning again for a farm, for a homestead that I could love, that I could work the land, that I could have things to be more self-sustaining. And I was praying really hard, you know, and at that time I had found a mentor, and then I have a good friend up at about 20 minutes from me that I had met through a homestead ladies group. And she's like, girl, you got the land. You've got the land to do what you need. If you can do, or if I can do all that I'm doing on my 1 point some odd acres, you can do it on almost your 5 acres. So that's kind of what we did. I revamped. I prayed about it. And now I don't see the cat anymore. I just told God my heart, and I was just telling him that, Lord, you know my heart. You know I want a homestead. You know I want to be as self-sustaining as I can. And you know my desire. And I just came out one morning, and I was sitting right up on the porch. I was having my coffee, and it was fall. So if I turn the camera around now, you're not really going to be able to see it. But through there is the mountains. And in the fall, it is beautiful. And I just really, really fell in love with it. And I was just like, you know, this could really be my place. It could honestly be my homestead. If I took care of the land, if I made it like I wanted. I really love it because I come out here every morning. It's so quiet. There's not a lot of traffic on our road. And when I look out, it's so peaceful. And in the fall out that way is nothing but just mountains. And so I fell back in love with my mini farm or homestead. It really doesn't matter what you call it, but I'm learning to love it again. And on top of that, it brings me joy knowing that I've prayed. I feel like unless God tells us different, this will be our forever homestead because we're getting older. And this is enough land for us to keep up. The only other animal that we will probably add are pigs. But, oh, and bucks for the goats. But I'm content. My heart is content. I can grow our food. We can grow our meat. So my heart is overfilled, and I'm very thankful that I'm in love with my mini farm again. And pretty much that's my little farm story. And I'll give you guys a tour of the front, the back, and the side in the next video, but I'm going to split them up because the back needs more explaining to do because we're fixing to start a huge major project there in 2022. And then in 2023, our one big project is on this side of the back. So for the rest of this year, we're focusing on the front and odd end projects, and I'll go over that in that video. So this is pretty much my little mini farm homestead now, and I'm very content with it. I'm very in love with it now, and I'm fixing it like my own. And I'm very blessed that I get to stay here on the farm. If you guys follow us, you know my husband works night shifts, so he does hold down a public job, and then I stay on the farm to sell milk, lotion, soap, breads, any vegetables, anything that we have excess of, I'll try to sell to make a little bit of money. But our family comes first, we come first, and then if my kids want any, and then if I have any to sell, then or barter with is what my goal is here now. I'm not trying to run a business anymore. I'll do a little farm store out there that people can come here on the farm instead of me traveling abroad. So that's just my little story and my dream now. I'll go over more of my dream in the back property video of my goals here, as to what I want to do. So yeah, that's my little farm story. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to give me a thumbs up and make sure to hit that subscribe button down there, and I will see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching and have a great day.